What's going on, everybody? TheKennyDubz here with another Mega Man X character overview video. Today we're going to be talking about Swimsuit Roll because she is now available in the NA and EU version of X-Dive. So let's take a look at her, shall we? Alright, once again, I'm here on my Taiwan account. So I went over Roll briefly in my character preview video, but here she is, Swimsuit Roll right here. She's a very solid unit. Just want to get that out of the way right off the bat. So her S1 or skill 1 is Swim Ring Hurl. Hurl a swim ring that will travel across the ground and deal damage to targets along its path, dealing damage when it penetrates the target, and damage will be reduced to 50%. Now, this skill actually does quite a chunk of damage, just at its base, right? It's that 216% multiplier, which is very, very good. I would show you my Proto Man, for example, Proto Man EXE, but I can't because I just leveled him up for the recent event. But 216% multiplier off of one skill is very, very good. Then we have Water Shield, taking a shield that can withstand 113% of damage and deal 102% of damage to the targets that come in contact with it, which again is very, very good. It's nice that it deals contact damage to the opposition if it comes into contact with them, but I don't really care for that all that much, because if I have a shield on, I don't want to be running into damage, right? Like, I will definitely play more recklessly, but what I don't want to do is, if I'm in PvP, want to run into my opposition because I'm trying to damage them with my shield, right? Now, obviously that sounds a little weird because that's when you want to approach them, but I'm thinking more from a perspective of just wanting to get right in their face and just use my shield to damage them if, like worst case scenario, I have to use that as damage rather than playing safely with my shield. It is very, very nice, but I just don't like the idea of running into things with my shield in PvP. If it's PvE, then I definitely don't care. Like, I'll just run into things with my shield all day. But in PvP, I'm just like, y'all can do a lot of damage in PvP, so I don't want to do that. Oh, actually, if I had to go over the modifier chips, oops. Harden, which is pretty useless. You're never gonna equip this. Power increase, which increases the damage by 10%, but renders it incapable of penetrating target. This is okay. Again, you're probably not really gonna want to use this. This is probably better in PvE, maybe this in PvP, but I think this can ricochet off walls, so you might not want this either. Like, if you throw this towards a wall, it might hit the opposition, go through them, hit the wall, bounce back, and hit them again. So you might not want this. But this is the one you definitely want 100% of the time, because it increases the range by 350%. And that is a very, very long range for this to roll. So what that means is you'll probably be able to traverse most of the PvP maps just by using this. Will your opponent dodge it? That's on them. But, this range is very, very good. And for the modifiers for Water Shield, we have Power Increase, increase damage by 10%. And that's, I don't really care about that one again. Mobility reduces prep time by 20%. That one's very, very nice. This means the cooldown time is reduced by 20%. And then Buffer applies weakened damage on hit when hit by the Water Shield, reducing damage to the target's attack by 6.8%, which can be stacked up to 5 stacks. Now, this I like with the idea of damaging them with my Water Shield, because this lowers their offensive prowess of the opposition, so then it'll take them longer to break my shield. So in conjunction with this, I wouldn't mind running towards my enemy with my shield up to have them, to have them do even less damage to me. On top of Roll also has like natural defensive passives as well. So on Swimsuit Roll in particular, I think you can actually make decent use of her with her damaging with her shield. That's pretty cool. I also really like this as well, just lowering the prep time by 20%. That's very, very nice, just so you can use this more frequently. For the passive skills, we have Cool Trick. When being hit, there's a chance to gain enhanced defense status, which reduces damage taken by 8.3%. It can be stacked up to 3 times, so you can have roughly 25% damage reduction, which is very, very good. Old School Charm, when HP is below 50%, reduces damage taken by 20%. That's not bad. I would prefer it if it was above 50%. Not necessarily saying, When you're above 50%, reduce the HP, reduce the damage you take. But if I didn't have to be below 50%, just because we've gotten to a point in PvP where one taps are pretty common. So if you can avoid being one tap with her shield, which you can probably do, this is nice. Active water shield, damage register for water shield is elevated by 20%. That's okay. You really this one's okay. I don't really care particularly for this one all that much. It's not bad. It's good if you when you're using the shield for damage. Preemptive deployment. When being hit, the skill will 100% trigger cool trick. So cool trick will trigger 100% of the time rather than just being a chance. I don't know what the chance is because they never tell us these things, but having this be like, hey, this will now guarantee a trigger for the defense boost, I like that. And then time for water. Become accelerated after using skills. Increase in movement speed by roughly 41%. This is very good. Makes you slippery, harder to hit, and just gives you a speed boost, so that's good for, you know, going fast. Alright, so now that we have taken a look at Roll's kit, let's go look at some weapons that might pair well with Roll. As per usual, I think the usual suspects will pair fairly decently with her. You have your melee weapons in the Nightmare, Berserker Greatsword. Again, Nightmare is the best melee weapon in the game, so you can really put this on like any character and be okay. Berserker Greatsword is a very good option if you don't have Nightmare, and if you don't have Berserker Greatsword or Nightmare, you can make use of the Triangle Saber as well. Other usual suspects, think Gator Fangs and Explosive Blower will be very solid choices as well, simply because getting close to the opposition and then slowing them down or even stunning them with your shield up is very nice to do. Now, an interesting option I think could be the Electric Current Spray Gun, because this has decent range, but also what it has is it also has Destroy Armor, and this can go through walls, which is very nice. It can even stun as well, I believe. Yes, it can stun, so that's very nice. And on top of that, with it being a sprayer, you can equip the Mad Nautilus chip. Now, for those of you that don't know, Mad Nautilus, what it does is when it hits a target, it has a damage reduced by roughly 31%. You see 30.63% right here, and that's very interesting because Roll's a more defensive unit, so you could possibly build her like, you know, with a more a bit of a tankier build. She doesn't have inherent healing in her kit, which is kind of upsetting, but you can make use of that with her because she has her inherent weakening damage on her shield at 5 stars. She has inherent defensive buffs, which will trigger 100% of the time when she's at 4 stars. She has a shield, and then you can combo that with this, which is very nice. Again, you can also like put Mad Nautilus on, you know, Explosive Blower or Gator Fangs as well. But this has a bit longer range, allowing you to approach more easily, and then after you approach more easily with that, and you could just come in here with your Nightmare or Berserker Greatsword or what have you, and then get in there like that. But I do think Mad Nautilus could be like an interesting build you can run with her. I don't know if Global has this weapon yet. I really want to say that we do have this weapon in Global because we got Harp Note. You can use your Heart Spray Gun if you want to go for a more defensive build with Roll with the Mad Nautilus chip, because the Heart Spray Gun does have healing attached to it. You can use the 4-star passive when you hit a target with the Heart Arrow, which triggers some part of the time. I don't know. You get that, and the hidden skill. I don't know if the hidden skill is in Global as well. I'm pretty sure this weapon is in Global. If it is, good. If it's not, then just pretend this. I didn't say this, but I'm pretty sure this is in Global. You can use this as an option if you want to go with a more defensive build with Roll as well. Now, another weapon that it would be really good if you want to go the really like lean into like the more like defensive variant of Roll, I think, is the Glittering Spark weapon. Glittering Spark inherently has a way to not attack crush, weaken attack stat on its passives. I don't remember which passive it is, But this with Mad Nautilus chip will also make the opposition do very, very little damage if you want to do that. And something else I think is actually really I would probably prefer, at least in regards to like melee as opposed to melee weapons rather, is the Snipe Buster route. As while yes, you can use Roll, as like Roll does have a lot of defenses in her kit. You can also just play her like at range, right? Because her swim ring has a really fat range increase, 50%, which is 4-star. So you can make use of that and the Sniper Busters as well. You know, you can get you a Sniper Buster, Explosive Bolt, Destructive Laser, and then just play for Roll at range. The downside with that is maps like Cyberspace might make that a bit hard in PvP. So maybe you don't want to do that as much. Like I said, that might be map dependent, but I think that playing range Roll is also an option that you might see people doing, or you might want to try out. I also wanted to mention real quick that for Heart Spray Gun could also be a good option for PvE, as well as that has inherent healing alongside the Crimson Scythe, as the Crimson Scythe also has healing associated with it. So this will be good for Roll's longevity in PvE as well. So let's take a look at some cards that Roll might be good with. Okay, I know I just said that I'm going to look at some cards Roll might be good with, but I forgot to mention that Roll can go really fast with her last passive. So you might want to pair her with the Air Buster and use her in race mode. Because for race mode, you can actually use Roll pretty effectively. Or I guess even in co-ops if you really just want to go fast. Slap Air Buster on, that's a speed boost right there. Her speed passive as well. And then with her shield, you can kind of just rush through the stage, right? And just run into damage to an extent. Because you'll have your shield up, it does damage to everything you come into contact with, because that's just what the shield does as well. So you don't have to worry as much about taking damage in race mode. You can just focus on going fast. Now for Roll, as usual, it's going to depend on what units you are, or I'm sorry, what you're running alongside her. So once again, the typical suspects, your player killers, your weapon amplifications, or your weapon adaptabilities. So I'm going to come down here to the, as per usual, Akuma card if you want a more offensive. For player killer, we also have M. Bison here. Life Aura for the player killer, and Sigma X for a second form for the player killer. However, if you want to go the more defensive route, something that might be kind of interesting is the Minoa and Hinoto card, or Hinoa and Minoto card, right? Because with this card, Bunny Dongo heals you for a little bit every so often. So if you want to go the more defensive route, you can use this. But this isn't really too consistent. Like once you drop below 50% HP, of course, yes, you get the 20% defense boost on Roll, but 5% HP isn't all that great in a PvP setting. Though you can combo this alongside the Life Aura card, because Life Aura is yellow and triggers off of yellow, red. So that is something that you can do. This is also something you can use, the Yellow Dr. Light card. The damage reduction special attack 2 is what this card has. You can make use of that if you want to lean more into, I guess, the more defensive version of Roll, because then you'll get amplified damage of this from the obliteration that you're inflicting. Something else that you can actually use are the preparation adaptabilities. The third preparation adaptability, when your HP is 75% or higher, you can reduce damage taken with these. So you can technically make yourself even bulkier when you're at above 75% HP. So the only real threshold where you won't have some kind of defense mitigation with Swimsuit Roll, if you want to go that route, would be between 75 and 50% HP. So it'd be just like that 25% HP area where you don't have some kind of mitigation, aside from your shield, of course. I guess just say inherently aside from your shield, and maybe if you're using some kind of, if you're using one of the ways to obliterate your opposition's attack. Alright, so with that, I think that just about wraps up when I talk about Swimsuit Roll. Um, I would like to try the more defensive builds of Swimsuit Roll, to be quite honest, especially with some of like the DNA passives we have available, or for the random DNA. But I don't have her, so I can't exactly try it out. If anyone else wants to try it, let me know how that goes. I would be very, very interested to be hearing about that. But end verdict, Roll's a solid unit. She's not, the best a top tier unit, but she can perform in a variety of situations, and she can do that pretty well. Despite being a defensive unit, she lacks inherent healing, so that does hurt her a bit, especially on the PvE side. Though there are ways that you can deal with that, with her not having healing, and she will get DNA as well at some point, which will obviously help her out a little bit more. I do think she's probably a bit better on the PvE side than PvP. Actually, well, yeah, I do think she's a bit better in PvE than PvP currently. Just because we're still moving towards that era of kill things as fast as possible and a lot faster as we're getting more and more units. So it might be difficult for Roll to sustain, though I'm not entirely sure how hard it would be for her to, to keep her sustain up. Versus like maybe versus like super base. I guess it would depend on when she pops her shield. Things like super base and what have you. But we don't need to worry about that in PvP in global right now. But yeah, I do think I feel like one of the better sets for her is the more defensive build, as I feel like that would be more anti-meta, since most of like the higher end options want to kill as fast as possible. Like Proto Man, he wants to step toward combo you. Akuma just kind of wants the Shingatsu. I forgot the name of the skill, so I'm gonna try to say it and butcher it. But I do think that set would be really good. It might be a sleeper set. But yeah, anyway, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Show your support, helps channel, helps grow, shows me enjoying the content. Shout out to my YouTube members and patrons that continue to support me. If you're interested in joining my Patreon or becoming a YouTube member, you can do so down below. Down below the video, I'll have the links down there, and I think there's like a little member button down there as well if you want to join. And I will see you guys next time. Later.